I mean, to solve issues, honestly, the government should just light a blunt and just smoke together. And I feel like all the answers would come out of that smoke session. I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like a lot of the issues are just, they have a lot of tension. A bunch of old folks yelling about whatever it may be, oil, gas, homelessness, the economy. Just light it up, and I think we'd get a lot done. That's just my advice. That's crazy. I think it'd be a smart idea. Maybe some people don't agree. But then again, I mean, probably average age is 60? These folks, no offense to anybody who's over 60, but if the average is 60, I mean, these folks are pretty old, man. That means, the range is anywhere from 50 to 80, 90. These are folks that were still alive during the world wars, I think. Yeah, I'm not doing math tonight, but welcome to another episode of the J Youngblood Experience. Isn't it crazy that I'd sit here and talk for about 45 minutes to an hour and y'all just listen and y'all are entertained? That's the coolest thing to me, because I sit here and talk about nothing the whole time. You shouldn't take what I say seriously, I promise. I'm just another guy with another opinion on whatever I'm talking about. But y'all just, 4,000 views in the first, I started this on the 13th of February, almost a month. So we got 4,000 views in less than a month. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. The pyramids came from. Because I've heard a lot of different, ideas of what it may happen, whether it be aliens or whatever it may be. But I have a bit of a different idea of what they did. And I think it's so hard for us to fathom, because we as a people think that we're the most intelligent beings that have ever existed. And I think that's where we mess up. I think that the people or the entities that build the pyramids are or were very, very intelligent and beyond our times even. Because if you think about how the pyramids were made, the limestone they used, each one of those blocks, came from hundreds of miles away. Where they built those in Egypt, there's no limestone to be found. They had to go anywhere from 100 to 500 miles to get the limestone. And then not only did they have to get the limestone, they had to cut it in perfect pieces all the way up to the apex of the pyramid. So what my theory is, they simply had the equipment that we can't fathom, and they were better than what we are now, which, as the people we are, as the human race we are, we don't want to believe that. We want to think we're the most intelligent people to ever live. But I think that's false. I think they had some type of equipment, some type of inventions that we don't have anymore. And I think from then until now, something massive happened to set us back. And then we're trying to move forward now. I think they were just more intelligent. And like I said, nobody wants to admit that, because we're living in 2024. Why would anybody be better than the people we are now? But at the same time, you gotta look at it like, these rocks of limestone were cut very precisely. And you can't use a regular saw. And they did the math, it would take them over hundreds and hundreds of years to do that with our modern technology. So how the hell did they do that thousands of years ago? And it was millions and millions and millions of blocks. So how does that work? And I would love to hear y'all's feedback and any type of thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, the aliens came down." I'm not sure. What I am sure of is they had technology that we don't have now. And they were able to do stuff that we weren't able to do. If you look at the 3 different pyramids, that's millions and millions and millions of blocks. Perfectly aligned so it doesn't topple over. And they're actually, the longitude and latitude of each 3 are lined up with a star in space. So everything was calculated. It didn't happen by accident. It's not like you go to the sandbox, build, or at the beach and you build a sandcastle and it's all, just random. No, math was done here. It's insane that this isn't talked about often. It's absolutely insane. It's fascinating, actually. Because we're always so caught up in the daily stuff that we don't get to sit back and look at things around the world. We are traveling on a ball of gas thousands and thousands of miles through the universe with a sun that is an inch closer, an inch further, we would burn and boil to death, or we would freeze to death. Is that not insane? And we have other planets in our galaxy that also revolve around this gas ball, and all are different in place, have different masses, density, have different everything. And yet we're just this small little speck in space when it comes to the grand scheme of things. And we wake up every morning and worried about the job we go to. But in the grand scheme of things, none of that shit matters. It doesn't. Not at all. If the sun moved 1 inch closer to us, we would all boil to death. Boil to death. And we have a moon that travels around us. We get lunar and solar eclipse. And the chances of you being here during this time is like 1 billion to 1. The chances of you being alive. And I'm not smart enough to understand that, but they did some type of genetic code. They did the math and blah, blah, blah. It's 1 billion to 1. And I could be wrong. The math ain't going to be 100%. Like I said, don't take what I say seriously. But anyways, it's absolutely insane that we are even here during this time period. Not only the fact that you're here, but the fact that we're living in a time period now. And as a kid, you always thought about time travel. Is it real? Can it be real? And theoretically, yes. Theoretically, yes. And this is my thoughts on that. So we measure speed in space by light years, right? Speed of light. So if we're able to make something that acts as a parachute to light and use light as the gasoline, we could propel ourselves at the speed of light. All we need is something like a parachute that is able to capture the light as you push the light. And like air to a regular parachute, it'll push you because it's holding that. You just have to make something like that, and if you go to the speed of light, you'll be able to travel through time. But I feel like time travel is the same as like building a road. You can't travel on a road that hasn't been built yet. So I'm thinking, once we discover it, maybe we can go back in time once that road is made. I'm just bullshitting here. I mean, God knows I don't know much about science, but just thinking logically, you can't travel on a road that's not there yet. But I feel like at the same time, there's no way it has been invented yet, because there is no road that we are able to travel yet. And that's in other dimensions as well. Other universes, may I say. There's no way to travel on a road that hasn't been created. So, that's my thoughts on time travel. There has to be a road for us to travel and for us to enable travel. And I know I'm just bullshitting. You probably don't. You may not understand. It may go over your head. And maybe I'm not. I don't know enough about what I'm talking about. But I think once a road is established through time, like the roads we see here, then we would be able to travel that way. And I feel like that makes sense to me, and it could make zero sense to anybody listening, but I feel like with time travel, there has to be a road already traveled for us to travel that road, and that's up to someone much, much more intelligent and knowledgeable than I am. But just thinking about what I know is you can't, let's say there's a forest, you can't travel on that road when there is no road. That's just my thoughts. And then you have, Mars. People are like, oh, well, we could start travel to Mars. And so the first theory was to start with like a closed-in area, maybe a glass dome. And you start growing plants in the soil in Mars. That way the plants are giving off oxygen. But then the problem would be is how are they going to get CO2 enabled for them to live? And I'm guessing that would be from humans in that dome. Because we breathe in oxygen and a couple others and we let out CO2. So I'm guessing it would be like a mixture of us breathing in the oxygen and giving them CO2. So that was the first thing. And then they released the oxygen made slowly and little. And then it slowly makes the ozone, which is O3, I think. I could be wrong. I think that's O3, oxygen 3. A lot of people don't even know what the actual ozone layer is made of. But we'll get into that. And then another one is what Elon Musk was talking about. So what you do is you nuke both poles of Mars. The reason being is there's ice caps on both. So if you're able to heat up the planet, the more CO2 will be released. As CO2 is released, it heats up the planet. Oxygen comes into a thing as soon as you start planting plants and stuff like that. You create that ozone layer. But at the same time, that's a lot. We're going to nuke the Mars? What? That's crazy. See, this is where I'm out of my element is how much gas would that take to send both nukes to Mars? How would we send nukes to Mars? How would we even have enough gas to do so? Because there's a gas shortage, remember? That's what they always talk about. And even so, what would be the benefit of us moving to Mars? I mean, why would we want to move to Mars? What would be the big deal of that? There's no water currently. And obviously, once you get CO2 and oxygen involved, there would certainly be, if you have that ozone layer, there would certainly be clouds in the sky. Maybe you can get some, precipitation in there and help to maintain that. But at the same time, you gotta look at the soil, what it's made of, the size of the planet. Is it getting enough sun where we could actually go there and live and maintain life? I just really think that's far-fetched. And the fact that we've only sent rovers, we haven't sent a man to Mars yet either, just doesn't make sense. I've always been very, what's the word? Curious about outer space. As a kid, I remember being made fun of because I always wanted a telescope. One year I got, there's an amateur scale telescope. Next year I got a really big one. I was very fascinated by the moon, the stars, Mars, all these other planets, because it wasn't here. It's not something you can grab. It's not with us. It's not with us. And the moon, if you ever looked at it in a telescope, it's absolutely beautiful. It is. I mean, we see it sometimes as massive in the sky, and that's cool. But the moon in a telescope is absolutely beautiful. Stars, too. But the moon is just chef's kiss. It's beautiful. And I got made fun of that for a kid, but I was very curious. I was always a very curious kid. And it just leads me to the next saying is, was the moon landing real? Was the moon landing real? There's two arguments that I've heard. The first one being, obviously yes, and the second one being no. The first one, yes, is because at that time, it would take just as much, if not more, with the lighting, with the technology I think it was 1969, to be able to even make a movie or a video like that, because they didn't have the technology. It'd be very, very expensive. And then you hear the other side saying, yes, the moon landing was fake. It was not real. It was a hoax. It was American propaganda because they were trying to compete with Russia. Also different, they were talking about how the light came on different ways, so it seems like it was a studio setup, and the way that, the astronauts were jumping around, the way, the flag was waving, this and this and this and that. My personal opinion is I don't know, or I'm uncertain. Because I look at both sides. I mean, yes, 1969. Filming production, I mean, if you watched the movie from 1969, film production was not the greatest. And I think it was 1969. Let me look this up. I believe it was 1969. The moon landing. Let's take a look. I believe it was 1969. And people said that it just didn't look real, especially with the flag the way it was, the different shadows, and that's not how... I don't know. The thing is I'm uncertain. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a ton of conspiracy theories out there, and we as a people have the right to question, but I'm just uncertain, man. I've seen both sides, and I'm like, it could be or it couldn't be. I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to make that decision. But, I mean, if you try to look at a movie from 1969, you understand how low quality it was. But at the same time, would it be as expensive as sending one to the moon? Would it be as expensive as sending someone to the moon? Personally, I mean, I think it was real. Other people say other things, but people also think the earth is flat. And yeah, you have the right to question everything, but the flat earthers really started off as a joke. And someone took it seriously. And now you have people thinking that the earth is flat, which is not. It's not flat, guys. Anybody who thinks that, go back to high school. The earth is not flat. There's a certain, I mean, even all the way down to 24 hours times 15 degrees. It's 1 hour times 15 equals 360. Come on, man. Come on. 24 times 15 equals 360. The math is there, and we're talking about degrees here. It's not flat, man. It's not. People are insane, and they're getting worse and worse. Oh, God. I think just really after COVID, people just, they get up. They just lose their mind. They didn't know. People during COVID, they just they were bored. They were bored, so they got bored and started making bullshit up to feed the people, and then it just started growing. I'm sorry, guys, but the earth is not flat. That's absolutely insane. There's enough pictures and videos from not only NASA or scientists themselves, but, people do free-range stuff and do their own independent studies. Stop being stupid. Stop listening to bullshit on the Instagram and Facebook. The earth is not flat. Grow up. Start thinking with your own brain. Please. Start thinking with your own brain. And I know we're talking about conspiracy theories. Honestly, I'm feeling good about this. So let's talk about some more. Let's talk about some, government ones. I don't know if you ever heard of MK Ultra, but I'm about to read it to you. It is one of the craziest things ever. So Project MK Ultra was an illegal experiment program designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken people and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. The government did this. They were trying, in I think it was 1950s, 1960s. The government was trying to use drugs, LSD, heroin, cocaine, meth, to control citizens. So what they would do is they would they would find people in a brothel. If you don't know what a brothel is, look it up. Whether it be agents or this person, just random people. They would send this lady with a type of drink with acid or something in it to see the effects of acid on random people and how they are affected. The government did this. The government. MK Ultra. I'm reading more about it here for you. It used numerous methods to manipulate subjects into mental states and brain functions to convert administrative high doses of psychedelic drugs, especially LSD and other chemicals, without the subject's consent. Let's see. Here's all the talk. So Nazi Germany started using LSD, cocaine, and acid to try to figure out their effects. They actually did this in camps like Auschwitz to try to understand what happens if they could make super soldiers out of these. So then the U.S. government tries to do it to brainwash people and see what the effects were, see what information they could get out of people. The government did this. The CIA did this. By John, so that consider purchasing 10 kilograms of LSD, enough for 1 million doses. The proposed purchase aimed to stop other countries from controlling the supply. The document showed that CIA purchased some quantities of LSD from some labs in Switzerland. So the project got done or started in April 1953. It included administering LSD to mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and prostitutes. People who could not fight back. The government did this. The CIA. They also administered LSD to CIA employees, military personnel, doctors, and other government agents, and members of the general public to study their reactions with no consent whatsoever. The government did this. Let's keep reading. Military personnel who received the mind-altering drugs were also threatened with court trials if they told anyone of the experiences. And LSD and other drugs were often administered without the subject's knowledge or informed consent. In Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA set up several brothels. See, I was telling you about the brothels within agencies, safe houses in San Francisco to obtain selection of men who would be too embarrassed to talk about the events. Men were dosed with LSD and the brothels were equipped with one-way mirrors, and the sessions were filmed for later viewing and study. Another experience where the people were given LSD without their knowledge, they were interrogated under bright lights with doctors in the backgrounds taking notes. They told suspects they would extend their trips if they refused to reveal secrets. The CIA fucking A. The CIA. The people under interrogation were CIA employees, U.S. military personnel, and agents suspected of working for the other side of the Cold War. So this was during the Cold War, when America was trying to, show their guns off to the Russians, Soviet Union. So after long-term debilitation, several deaths resulted from this. Heroin addicts were bribing and taking LSD with offers of more than heroin. The government did this. Holy shit. I didn't even read this much earlier today. My God, that's crazy. The researchers were later dismissed LSD as too unpredictable in its results. They gave up on the notion that LSD was the secret that was going to unlock the universe, but it still had a place in cloak and dagger arsenal. By 1962, the CIA and Army developed a series of super hallucinogens, such as, I don't even know what that is, touted BZ, which was thought to hold greater promise as a mind control weapon. This resulted to withdrawal support by many academics, private researchers, and LSD research became less of a priority altogether. So from 1950 to 1964, the government was willingly using subjects in our country who had no knowledge of so, giving them LSD and seeing how they would react and seeing if they could mind control them. Mind control them. But you still could trust your government, though, right? You still trust your government. They were trying to mind control us back in the 60s. But yet, we trust your government. Yeah, they would never do that again. How dare they? They would never. Why would they do that? The government would do that? Are you sure? The government wouldn't do that, right? Mm-hmm. And y'all still trying to find out what's in Area 51, right? What's in Area 51? God only knows. If they were doing this back in the 60s, I can only imagine what they're doing to us now. I didn't read that much into it before, but reading that, I read the description, what it was. So they were doing the brothels, giving people LSD to see the reactions. They had the one-way mirror. That is sick. That is gross. They're in brothels. These are sex houses. And they're watching this through a one-way mirror. The government, CIA officials, giving drug addicts, regular people, military agents, and CIA agents LSD to see the reaction out of different people. But yet you still trust your government to give you a vaccine. Have you lost your fucking mind? Luckily for me, I haven't taken the vaccine. But after reading this, I'm not taking a damn vaccine, especially how hard they were pushing it from the government. There's also, let me see. They released, what was it? Mosquitoes. Let's see if I can find this. Here, give me one moment. Let me find this real quick. All right, I found it. So back in the 1950s, also during the Cold War, swarms of mosquitoes, the type notorious for transmitting yellow fever, were released into Georgia and Florida in the 1950s by the Army to see if insects could be used as biological warfare weapons. And these were literally released in black communities to see and study how these were bad. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And this is mostly in the Savannah area. But that's so crazy. But yet everybody still trusts the government. And then you have this Tuskegee study. And this is when people in, let me see, it was, so this was during when Bill Clinton was president, which, treated, blah, blah, blah. So they literally gave 400 African-American men in Alabama syphilis and left them untreated so doctors could study the disease. Gave them syphilis just so they could study it. 400 unknowing men, African-American men, to study, and this was in 1932, to study the effects of such. And the reason these men took it willingly is because they thought they'd get a free meal and that it was just a regular medical exam. Free medical exams. Free medical exams. Free medical exams and food. That's it. And this is why I don't trust the government. Never will, never have. Never will, never have. And you still took the COVID vaccine and you're okay with it. You're okay with it. You were fine with it. You did it. Who gives a shit, right? Who gives a fuck? You did it. It's over. Whatever happens, who knows? I don't know. I don't know the risk. I know a lot of people have died after taking the COVID vaccine. Not instantly, but you took it. By the same government that was using LSD to test people, you took the COVID vaccine. And there is actual conspiracy theories that Marilyn Manson, or not Marilyn Manson, I'm sorry. What's his name? Not Marilyn Manson, Jesus. What's that guy's name? Manson. Charles Manson. I'm sorry. Marilyn Manson is the artist. Charles Manson was given this, and that's why all these people were killed by his cult. He was able to give them the same drug and was able to manipulate and control them in this cult. And that's why people died under his reign. And you took the COVID vaccine. You trust your government, don't you? I could never. And this is going to ruffle a couple feathers, whether on the right or left side. I don't trust the government, nor should you. There's too many things they've done. I'm 23 years old. There's too many things they've done that I've read about that is absolutely diabolical. But you still trust them. They tell you the truth, right? They just want the best for you. They just want the best for you. That's why people who, go under government help always come out, right? This is why schools are so good, right? Public schools are great. This is why all of our roads are being taken care of, right? All of our roads. The food that we receive is always good, right? The FDA drugs, right? They have to be good. There's nothing wrong. The side effects, there are none, right? There are none. But what I want you to think is there are maybe 1% of farmers are what there were back in the 1960s. 1%. 1% of farmers have lasted from 1960 to now. There's 1%. How are they feeding us all this food? There's millions and millions of people in the United States. How are we getting this much food? It's genetically modified. That's what it is. It's genetically modified. They take the best crop that grows the best. Grows the longest. Grows all year long. Grows however the public want it. And they don't know what it is or what the effect may be. And they don't know they know what they're putting on the plants themselves, but you still eat it every day. They give you air fresheners that are supposed to make your house smell better, but some reason you keep getting a headache. They give you water that's supposed to be clean, but if you put a filter on it, somehow that filter gets dirty. Interesting. So when you put a filter on tap water, how does that filter get dirty? How's that so? And why are the frogs turning gay? Alex Jones caught it a while back, and everybody called him crazy. But then frogs started turning gay. And now we're in a time now where I question what they're giving us. And yet, they push organic. Why are they pushing organic? And this is not me saying anything is incoherently bad. This is just simply me questioning what is their plan. Why are 1 in 8 Americans obese? Why is a burger at McDonald's $4, but if you want a salad, it's $8, baby? Huh? Why is that so? Like I said, this is not me saying one way or the other. It's simply me questioning what is going on. What is happening? Why is everyone so depressed? Why is anxiety such a big problem? Where did these nut allergies coming from? And why is Down syndrome automatically coming into a bigger thing? Not that it's a bad thing. The Down syndrome people are the greatest, some of the nicest people ever. But why is it happening so much more now than it has ever in history? Why are people killing themselves at such an exponential rate since 2009, which also was the same time that the iPhone was introduced to the world? I think it's 2009. I could be wrong. Like I said, you want to check me, you can. Because people are seeing their faces more now than ever, and they're picking themselves apart. Suicide rates have exponentially grown since that time. Exponentially. Back in the day, all you had was a mirror. You saw it once a day when you were at home, and maybe another time when you got back from home, but you probably didn't look at it much. And now you see your face every time you pick up your phone. Whether it's the black before you turn the screen on, or it's right when you get onto the camera. You see your face every day. And most of you are like, why is that a problem? Because you're going to pinpoint the problems in your face, especially when you see someone like the Kardashians who, quote unquote, are perfect, and you want to look just like them. That's the problem. The government does this on purpose. And like I said, I hate getting political, but the problem isn't the fact that you're overweight. The problem isn't the fact that you're ugly. The problem isn't the fact that you're different. The problem isn't the fact that you're depressed. The problem isn't the fact that you're anxious. The problem isn't the fact that you are who you are. The problem is they portray people who are, quote unquote, perfect and push that agenda. That way normal people who can't afford surgeries, normal people who can't get the hair that they have, the bags they have, the sunglasses, the clothes, they make you feel like you're not worth shit. They want you to continue to always chase money. And that's why you go to your 9-to-5 job and you buy the Gucci, you buy the Prada, you buy the Burberry, you buy all this shit that you don't need, put it on a charge card, and yet you stay in debt. You stay in debt because you want to be like someone you're not. If everyone bought from Goodwill, Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, all these people would go out of business. If we would just use what we have, everything would be fine. We would be great. We keep the rich richer and the poor poorer because we want to buy shit we don't need. You want to buy a car that you can't afford on any salary ever. It's going to take up a fourth and you're still going to buy it. And is it your fault? Not really. It is a freedom of choice, but at the same time, they flaunt it in your face. They kill you with it. If you don't have this, you're not the big thing. You're not nice. You're not good. You're just not a good person. You need to jump because last season you had the coat, you had the jacket, you had the pants, you had the shoes. Well, guess what? It's a new season. You need to go buy another one. And this didn't come from anywhere. This is not the problem of capitalism. It's the problem of the government trying to control us. It is. It is. Everybody, we have a free market. Or mixed market. It's not really a free market. The problem isn't the fact that capitalists run the world. No, you have free choice. You have free choice. They flaunt these people for a reason. The Kardashians are big for a reason. Balenciaga is big for a reason. They signed a contract with the devil and they're never leaving. They're not. Time and time again, Balenciaga, all these big places have had some very weird messaging in their advertisements. But yet you continue to buy. You continue to buy. You're going to buy the Gucci. You're going to buy the Prada. But if someone mentions Goodwill, some type of thrifting you want to do, it's a no-go for you. And I'm not here to preach for you. I've done the same thing. We're all growing as a society, growing as people. But God forbid you buy anything that's not $200. You have to go get that new Louis. You have to get the new Gucci, the Prada. You have to get the YSL. I have YSL cologne. It smells amazing, but I can get the same thing for $20. I pay $200 for it now. This is who we are. We're holding ourselves back, and they're controlling us easily. Everything is just a simple touch of power. They can get you to watch TV for an hour. Power. They can get you to buy the more organic or the better stuff. Power. They're going to control you the best way they can. And I'm not completely a conspiracy theorist, but history is going to repeat itself, and the government's not going to change. So we have forgotten that they work for us and not the other way around. We're supposed to bow down to them? Absolutely not. I don't trust the government because I have no reason to. They haven't done anything to give me trust. Every year it's a new politician that's going to come in and say, well, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to give you hope. I'm going to lower gas prices. I'm going to make the economy better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When they know for a fact it's not even up to them. They're just a puppet. Puppet in the background. We all know it. Cast your ballot. Cast your ballot. It's like throwing a piece of paper into space. It's not worth a fuck. Not worth a damn at all. What I'm saying is they're simply not to be trusted, man. I have a big conspiracy theory, and this is good. I'm going to tell you mine. Please let me know if you have a conspiracy theory. This is mine. I believe they have the cure for cancer, but the money is not in the cure, it's a treatment. I truly believe that. And I've lost people to cancer. I know people that have died of cancer. I truly believe they have the cure for cancer. And for some reason, every doctor that gets close dies. Interesting. Crazy, right? Yeah, just crazy. I believe they have the cure for cancer, but the money is not in the cure. It is in the treatment. And I say all this crazy shit you're hearing me say. I'm sure you're like, this dude's absolutely insane. And like I say on every podcast, I don't give a damn what you think about me. What I'm saying, what I'm saying is, live your life, because all this bullshit you think is irrelevant, it's not. No one's going to save you. There's no Superman out there. Live your freaking life. Be who you are. Be who you are. Explore the world. Explore the world. Have fun, smile, laugh, cry. Be anxious, be depressed, be everything, man. Because they're not gonna take care of us, then. They're not. They're not here to take care of us. And if you have any conspiracy theories, say it in the comments or something like that, or one of the replies. And I'll talk about it on one of the podcasts I have. I'll probably, consolidate a lot of them and see which one's my favorite. Research them a little bit more. MK Ultra, if you haven't heard of that, please read into it. There's a couple books out there. You can go Google it, go to different websites and read it. It's absolutely insane what our government is willing to do to us. And then the whole Tuskegee project with syphilis, and then you have the mosquito experiment where they let all these over 500 mosquitoes out with the yellow fever virus. Like, this is insane. And yet we're told to trust the government like they know us or they like us, or they don't give a damn. They forgot they work for us and not the other way around. Never been the other way around. So yeah, I don't trust the government. I don't. Not Congress, not the president, not the judges, none of them. Not a single one. That's why I live my life how I want, buddy. Because I don't give a damn, man. I'm happy, all right? The government doesn't control my happiness. My happiness is always going to be happy. And yeah, I may wake up anxious sometimes. I may wake up depressed sometimes. But like I said in the last one, I look in the mirror, I get very, very, very confident. And I play this song here. Ready? Every day I'm hustling. Because every day I am hustling. I do it for me. I do it for my family. I do it for those I care about. You should do the same thing. I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't care to be. I'm just here, a guy in Athens, Georgia, speaking my mind because I care about everybody who listens to this podcast, and I want you to hear what I have to say because it's important to me. It's important. It's important, man. My grandma always told me, make sure your voice is heard, and it will be. It will always be. I'm Jacob fucking Youngblood, man. I'm Jacob Youngblood. I've been profound. I've been controversial. I've been a lot of things in my life. And I'm not going to stop for anyone or anything. And I have some really cool guests that are going to come on soon. And I want you all to be a part of that. I don't know who they are. Or actually, I do know who they are. I just simply can't tell y'all. But we're going to talk a lot of things, man. This is one of the things I want to talk about. I told you I really didn't want to get political, but I don't know if you want to call this political. I did kind of call out the government, but I mean, the things that have happened in the past should make you absolutely irate. Should make you absolutely irate. Should make you question everything you do and are going to do in life. Everything you hear should be questioned. And all you flat earthers, y'all are dumb as hell. Please kick a rock. Kick rocks, many of them. Because that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Literally started because of a joke on Reddit. And y'all took that shit seriously. You are a joke. An absolute joke. Don't try to talk to me about flat earth. That shit is insane. Don't talk to me about it. You're stupid. Sorry. If that hurt your feelings, good. Please come on the pod. We can talk about it. But that shit is fake. There is no flat earth. That's insane. Absolutely crazy. Every math equation ever belittles the bullshit you just said. And every time any flat earther speaks, I lose like 5% of my brain, man. They're not smart people. I mean, they try to put this lousy, stupid math together, and it doesn't add up. Stupid. Ignorant is what it is. And they like to be ignorant. That's cool. That's fine. That's whatever. But yeah. If you have any conspiracy theories, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. If you have listened today, man, hopefully I didn't waste... What are we at? Like 40-something minutes? Hopefully I didn't waste your time, man. I'm just here. I'm just a 23-year-old man talking about life, talking about conspiracies, talking about anything under the sun. And if you haven't, please look into those conspiracy theories that MK Ultra, the Tuskegee projects, and the mosquito projects down in Alabama. Absolutely sick stuff. It's all declassified. You can read about it anywhere, even on the U.S. government's or the CIA, FBI's websites. This is something you need to be aware of because as we go along, you should know what the government has and hasn't done because they will surely let you know what you have or haven't done. But yet the difference is they can't be put in jail about it because they are indeed an entity But we are people. We are individuals, and they feel like they can put us in jail. That's what they are. That's what they do. It's all just mind control over mind control, and that's what it is. All I can say is real G's move in silence like lasagna. That's all I can say. And I'm a real G. I move in silence. I also fly in silence like gnats, bro. I don't care. I'm living my life every day, careless, shameless, and in some happiness. And you don't do the same, I feel bad for you. This has been a Jay Youngblood experience. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.